She sent me a video of herself eating corn on the cob before that poo appeared.
Oh, she's making the cornbread the old-fashioned way.
I've had bigger chunks of corn in my crap.
Hello friends, Trace Amounts of Science. We're back into it with Married Mary today. I took a little bit of a break from it, and I guess that drama will be addressed in the first post, which it wasn't necessary for OP to write. It's not necessary for me to read. But we did get a little bit off the rails, and I think it should be talked about, so let's open that can of worms right now. From Cringy Val, a sincere apology for joking about underage drunk girls. Yeah, honestly, nothing sparks rage faster. Didn't we come after DJ Cactus for essentially like the same thing? So yeah, if you want to give me Funky's real name, we can dive deep and try and do a little expose, though I don't know if he has that much online presence. I guarantee you I could find out something though. Anyway, OP says, hey guys. Hey OP. I've taken myself off the grid for a while, and before you assume that this was purely because I got butt hurt, please check those assumptions at the door. It's far more nuanced than all that. Yeah, as life tends to be. I'll admit, I thought you felt a certain type of way, but it's also not the first time that happens. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I stomped on the gas a little too hard for that person, which surprises me because OP does stomp on the gas in her own stories. Anyways, all I'm willing to say is that I was prepared for all manner of negativity, save the manner that actually shook me. A little bit of victim blaming is what it is. Mostly said for comic effect, granted. But yeah, I sent the brainwave out, people took it, ran with it. It didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I'd consider it less victim blaming and more screaming, raging, coping, seething at a slow motion train wreck that you know is about to happen, and you're powerless to stop it. Maybe I should have read them in a different order. Meh, too late for that now. But I've processed, says OP. I don't need to hash anything out. I just need to sincerely apologize for the nasty, nasty bit at the very end of the last installment of Married Mary. It's been many weeks, so no worries if you don't remember. Oh, I remember. I always remember. But if you don't remember, it's in a playlist in the description for you. OP says, I exercised terrible judgment and pumped out some truly terrible writing when I included that flashover about Funky messing around with an underage girl. Was it true? I don't even know. The remaining members of the Shadowrun crew have told me oodles of unflattering stories about Funky, many involving him getting outrageously frustrated with his hookups. To this day, I laugh until my sides ache when I hear these stories, even if I've heard them many times before. Yeah, for the sake of the story, I can understand twisting the truth. Like, you wanted to elicit a reaction by including the underage drunk girl. You definitely did. I don't think you expected for people to say, like, well, now I've lost respect for every member of the group. But ideally, that is the prescribed action. Like, when we have PDF file things in the past, I'm like, why are you still even interacting with this person? Shut them down cold. If you're not reporting it directly to the FBI, you're doing wrong. So yeah, it was a spicy embellishment. You just didn't realize how spicy it was until it was already too late. I ate this spicy meatball, I feel it rolling around the ring of fire, and I wish I could undo it, but I can't. OP says, so, when I was wrapping up that chapter, I wanted to dunk on Funky and make him look as bad as possible, purely for my own amusement, and that doesn't make for very good writing, and I didn't think about the consequences. Like I said, embellishments are fine. Entertainment first, reality a distant, distant second. But when it comes to the children, yeah, people do tend to get a little worked up. Chris Trucker pressed on a lot of buttons too, but I don't think that was ever one of them. Anyway, OP continues, I made my friends look bad for not reporting him, so let me be clear and admit that the story of the young drunk girl was based purely on tales of him throwing temper tantrums when his dates weren't enthusiastic enough. I should have focused on his fury, but I had to go as low goes and call him a PDF file. It would have been far funnier if I'd recreated one of the temper tantrums I witnessed personally, but I can assure you that every last chummer drove a dame from a disappointing dalliance to safety after Funky stormed into a rage about failing to enjoy a hot hookup when both parties were plastered. Some nice alliteration there. And yes, I do agree that the temper tantrum would have been more truthful, more fitting, less spicy. But yeah, sometimes time gets short. You want to wrap the post up. Maybe I save this tantrum for another post. For right now, we'll speculate. Like, even if you admitted it was speculation, I think people would have run with it. I don't know, tough thing to handle. I guess the solution is don't call people that unless you have cold, hard facts that they are that. People get beat to death with baseball bats over accusations like that. Continuing with OP, she says they may not have reported him to the fuzz, but they stepped in and helped the girls that the beard was taking advantage of, even though the girls were probably above the age of majority. I mean, I guess Funky's not all that much. Yes, he is. A 30-year-old with an 18-year-old? I don't like it none too much. That's like the situation with Boogie2988 and his seemingly very young 21-year-old girlfriend. We did a video on it recently. I didn't speculate about a fake ID, but I should have. OP says, I'd hate to imagine that anyone out there now thinks of my Shadowrun friends as uncaring crap bags because of some dumb snippet of a story that I wrote. They're the salt of the earth, and they did their part to help. Yeah, honestly, I went in with a lot of skepticisms. They had to work their way into my good graces, and I'm like, I actually like some of these people. And that part, yeah, it did throw it out the window. Like, yes, I'm accepting your humanity, but only on probation, you know? You gotta check these things out. It's all OPSEC. OP says again, I'm so sincerely sorry for grossing you out in that particular fashion. Messing around with teenagers is not funny. It's not fodder for dunking on some dunce, and I should have never included it. If the Married Mary saga continues, which it has, there will be some good old-fashioned bathroom humor soon enough. And I've decided to finally introduce the premature blast-off butt-bombing hobbit. That's Dennis. I hope I haven't completely damaged my reputation by including a bit of fictionalized smack talk, but I can certainly understand why it was off-putting to many of you. This might seem trivial, but I want to make sure that you guys know that I do consider critical comments when they have weight, and I'm willing to take an L where I screwed up. Peace, Val, not OP. Val. I always say OP just because it's easier, but you're right, you are a human being. And I'm always willing to make peace. I was willing to make peace the day that it happened. I'm also willing to take the L where we need to. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to count up your W's or your L's except for you. What's actually important, the thing that people actually see, is human connection. And Val has done a lot for me, wrote a banger of a Plague Doctor script, in my opinion. I keep putting stuff in front of it, but we're going to push it out real short here. And you'll know it when you see it. But yeah, she's done for me, and I hurt our relationship with a few jokes, some smack talk. I don't want it to be like that, because honestly, OP doesn't deserve all that. I mean, it's just me calling out, dumb things where I see it. But in a lot of ways, it doesn't need to be taken in that direction. So we'll see if I can do a little bit better. Probably not the last time that I ever dropped the ball, but it is what it is. So yes, forgive and forget, whatever the comments think, that's fine too. But I'm more than willing to move past it. You think a lot of this other shit wasn't made up? You're the only one that admitted to it, and that takes a set of big brass balls. So let's continue the Married Mary saga, shall we? With part number 6, Married Mary meets Scumbanger. I mean, if you're looking for scum, you came to the right place. And welcome back to the exceedingly seedy underbelly of the Wellsprings theater community. This bit of the story contains plenty of gross discussions, so stretch out your cringe muscles if you're squeamish about pervy pests or the poo-poo. Oh, that's what we all showed up for, isn't it? Show me the poop!
Poop, 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 poop. Here we go.
Here's a mini cast refresher if you need it. Val is the OP, theater nerd, burlesque dancer, grad student. Mary, the legbeard. She's clingy, demanding, hypersexual, and currently obsessed with whiskers. He's a tall, slightly odd dude with disgusting facial hair. I'm not entirely sure what to think of him at this point. Lucy and the Georges are professional improvers. George, Gay, and I were in a community theater production of Cats over the summer, where we both had separate encounters with the pervy pest who played the pelvic thrusty Lothario Rum-Tum Tugger. Yeah, he does a bit of tugging himself, doesn't he? Tink is a young male member of the burlesque troupe. He also had encounters with the aforementioned pervy pest. Is Scumbanger the pervy pest, or are we still talking about, what's his face? Mo. Mr. Lester. I guess we don't get any of him in this tale, and honestly, thank God for that. Before we get into everything, let's touch in on the aftermath of Mary's terrible goon cave party, as well as some questionable developments in my personal life. We're rolling into the holiday season now, and a few mentionable shenanigans had unfolded since Mary's harrowing party. Forcing a person to sit quietly and watch someone else play IMVU should be a freaking interrogation technique. Yeah, especially if they're doing the hot cybers. Whoa. Did you look in the computer chair? Is there a giant snail trail? I bet there is. But Lucy had filmed this potentially useful interrogation technique and had titled the video, "Most Boring Party Ever." I'd probably give that video a click and then click off in 30 seconds and be like, they ain't lying. There were shots of Mary musing over which beefcake had the biggest slab of trouser meat, a few shots of the obnoxious nightclub with all the absurdly proportioned avatars, and many, many shots of the bored partygoers. Lucy added a voiceover, acting as an anthropologist studying human boredom. Oh, that's a good twist. I like that. And as boring as the party had been, Lucy's video was hysterical. Mary, to my knowledge, had not seen the video. Can I request a link to that? Tell you what, I'll generate a still and I'll do my own. Witness the majesty of this fat legbeard. Whether he is connected to this computer chair or not, we do not know. We do know she spends hours per day engaging in virtual encounters on the virtual world of IMVU. Today, something surprising. Guests approach her beard cave. They seem excited until they go inside and see what awaits them. While the things being discussed on the screen are salacious, they are only words after all. The guests begin to get bored, attempt to make small talk, but their efforts are futile. The atmosphere thick with boredom. They begin to search for an escape. As the guests make their exit, the legbeard remains unperturbed, lost in her digital fantasy. In this case, it seems that the cure for boredom has become the source of it for others. Curious. It was a crappy Jacques Cousteau. I do a crappier David Attenborough. And whatever. So 30-second bit, what do you want from me? And the truth about what was happening between Mary and Whiskers really did remain impossible to decipher. Sometimes Whiskers was Satan incarnate. Sometimes he was nothing but her sex cow. Other times he was a total Casanova. And on occasion, Mary spoke of ending her husband so she could marry Whiskers. We were pretty sure she was joking. She wasn't joking. But I was still communicating with Whiskers. He rarely talked about Mary. Well, yeah, dude, that's basic. If you're trying to bang one chick, why are you going to talk about another chick that you bang? No. Let them know that you are wanted, but available, you see? OP says, if I did bring Mary up, Whiskers' response was invariably, meh. Mostly he complained about quote-unquote dumb shit his Facebook friends were posting, or quote-unquote dumb shit that random strangers were talking about on the online forums that he spent most of his time perusing in search of a word battle. God, I'm so glad forums are dead, honestly. Part of me's sad about it, but then you get jagoffs like this guy, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a blessing in disguise. OP says, I obviously had no interest in these things, and yes, now I see that this was a red flag. At the time, I knew very little about online forums or echo chambers, so I dismissed his odd hobby as just a guy thing. This is why you need to be intensely interested in what the people around you are doing. I'm like, hey, wife, what are you growing? Castor beans? That's weird. We just watched Breaking Bad. Hope she doesn't try to sneak me a rice and cigarette.
You slip it into his food or drink. There shouldn't be any taste or smell. 36 hours later.
Nah, I'd be more likely to die from the pog, honestly. Did you see that stream on Sunday? Pretty lit. Now I've got to eat trash soup. I went to the McDonald's and asked the manager. She said no. I'll show you guys that video on the stream on Sunday. I don't want to get too off topic. But yes, I made a total ass myself as usual. Just a guy thing, I guess. See, we looped it back in. On a more pleasant note, Whiskers occasionally sent me pictures of the very posh and pretty food that they served at Vert. Sometimes we also talked about video games, and once in a while he would send good morning or good night texts. There was nothing particularly remarkable about our communication at that point. I didn't fancy Whiskers, but I was still dealing with hot and cold BS from Dennis at school. I never knew if he was going to warmly embrace me or flat out refuse to acknowledge my presence when we saw each other. Oh, that's easy. He's cheating. You just have to figure out which person makes him pretend that he doesn't know you or something like that. Or just who cares? Burn the whole thing. doesn't seem too worth holding on to. So yeah, all of that was just like middle school in a slightly nicer building. Whiskers, on the other hand, was consistently lukewarm, and that was strangely comforting. Yeah, a little bit of stability in unstable times. I could be that rock for you, girl. That crack rock. But some interpersonal developments were also unfolding during this time of societally mandated merriment. Developments that could very well paint me as something of a villain. Or a legbeard, at the very least. Mary and I had somehow become genuine friends. I suspected that there were mental health issues and a very possible personality disorder plaguing her mind, so it felt insensitive to remain angry with her, even when her actions were infuriating. No. You don't get a pass on things like that. Your mental disorder is on you to regulate and maintain. You don't turn it into somebody else's problem. The second that you do, you're liable for repercussions. I could give out a little bit of understanding and such, but from the way it seems to me, Mary doesn't want to get better. So it's never going to improve. You're only infuriating yourself. Anyway, LP says, to be fair, Mary wasn't always barking mad. In smaller groups, when there was no audience and no potential romantic partner around, Mary could be a lot of fun. I even found it cathartic to rage about Dennis and his flaky antics. Mary added her whisker woes to the stoke of flames, and we had ourselves more than one, completely unfair and undoubtedly healthy, man-bashing bonfire. Wasn't a man-bashing bonfire, coping and seething bonfire. Emblematically speaking, of course. I wasn't going to risk arson charges for these bozos. Yes, I now realize that this was nothing but a very small echo chamber. I mean, yeah, but it did help you to cope. I think it's fine. It's probably fine. However, the more I liked Mary under these very controlled circumstances, the more she drove me nuts. She became more and more demanding of me as I began to play a more prominent role in her social circle. Nope. I barely got time for me. I don't care about you. In my mind, I clearly defined my boundaries. But either it wasn't as clear as I had imagined, or something about Mary's brain chemistry prevented her from hearing anything that flew in opposition to her immediate emotional needs. Oh, she knows. I'm sure she knows. She just doesn't care. And the single white female claptrap was real. She peppered her language with British slang, often using it in the wrong context. I wasn't sure if she was trying to make me insecure by subtly suggesting that my hint of an accent is weirder than I think it is, or if she had some flimsy sense of self and felt the need to appropriate the features and mannerisms of others in an effort to jerry-rig a new personality from this collection of spare parts. Ooh, yeah, the last one. Definitely the latter. It could be both, but yeah, heavily weighted to one side. Then again, Mary had several exceptionally distinct and overbearing personality traits of her own, so the alternative answer as to why she appropriated the features and mannerisms of others is that she couldn't let anyone have anything that was theirs alone. We all owed her pieces of ourselves, whichever one she fancied, and that brings me to yet another unreasonable demand. She declared that she wanted to dye her hair purple and asked me what I used. While I was very slightly flattered, but mostly disconcerted by her desire to imitate me, I was happy to share hair tips. But then she insisted that I should buy her the hair dye because I owed her for any male attention that my purple hair garnered. God, she's just so insecure. And OP is so eager to fix people, but I don't think this is fixable, dude. She doesn't want to get better. She's continuing to be a problem. That's it. I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
I can't take this shit no more, man.
The male attention wasn't all that much, to be honest. A few weirdos and weebs followed me around because I look like an anime girl. But the men who mattered saw me as more than a purple pixie. I refused Mary's demands, so she remained a blonde bombshell, and it suited her. How have we gone this long calling her a bombshell and I haven't made a fat man and little boy joke yet? Awkwardly flashing forward. On the day of the Imp's holiday show, I got a text message from the bombshell Legbeard's not boyfriend asking if everyone would be at the Imp that night. OP says, yeah? Why? Whiskers, I might come to the show with a girl I met under a bridge. OP, do you spend a lot of time hanging out under bridges? Whiskers, irrelevant. I think this'll set me free. OP, from Mary. Whiskers, yeah, I just can't with her anymore. She pinched a corny loaf on my doormat last time I told her we needed to cool it. Oh, she brought you some cornbread. That's lovely. OP, what? Ew, but how do you know it was her? Oh, OP doesn't like cornbread? What's going on here? Whiskers, she sent me a video of herself eating corn on the cob before that poo appeared. Oh, she's making the cornbread the old-fashioned way.
I've had bigger chunks of corn in my crop.
And she was eating the corn suggestively. Use your imagination. OP. Double ick, dude. You seriously need to call the cops. Whiskers. Nope. Just gonna make her mad enough to stop stalking me. OP. I feel like making her mad might make it worse. Whiskers. Doubtful. Gotta run. See you soon. Heart emoji. Whatever, pig. Enjoy your bridge troll. And I mean the new bridge troll, not the old bridge troll who you don't enjoy anymore. Oh dear, says OP. This was not likely to turn out the way that Whiskers was imagining. Yeah, he's not really a student of human behavior, is he? Thursday night, when the performers gathered in the dressing room for the holiday show, I felt torn between keeping Whiskers' arguably cruel surprise under wraps and warning my emotionally fragile friend about his plot. I had downplayed the extent of my friendship with Whiskers to Mary because I feared that she would have a meltdown if she knew I was talking to her man on the regular. And while I hadn't deliberately downplayed the extent of my friendship with Mary to Whiskers, he was completely uninterested in talking about her. Whether or not she left that corny crap on his doormat was debatable, but I nevertheless understood Whiskers' objection to being the object of her obsession. Where did my loyalties lie? Well, I wasn't sure that I owed either of them my loyalty. There you go. Whose team am I on? Mine! However, Mary saved me from my own dilemma when she loudly bragged to George Gay that she had given Whiskers corn. George Gay, what the hell, Mare? I thought you were desperate to keep this guy. What did I teach you about douching that ass before he goes up the tailpipe? Gross. She probably does eat a lot of corn, doesn't she? Big gal. Takes a lot to fuel her up. Mary says, no, not like that. I messed up when I was making fudge for the Christmas party at Chucky's office, so I dumped a can of corn in the concoction and rolled it into turd shapes. And then I left it on his doorstep. I think he'll think it's funny when he realizes it's a sweet treat. Ugh, enough about these sweet treats. You really want to keep a man? You gotta hand deliver him a foul soup. Snail trail soup. George Gay says, what's he gonna do? Pick up something that looks like a turd and take a bite? You're lucky he hasn't called the cops. Mary, I thought you'd find it funny. It's a joke. I gave him corn. He'll get it. George Gay, I don't think many straight guys know about getting corn, Mare. George Straight, can confirm. I'd like to unhear that. Too late. Mary's bottom lip began quivering, and she was clearly gearing up to have a meltdown. Normally, I'm the first person to laugh at poop jokes, but for some reason, this didn't turn my giggle box over. It seemed like Mary was co-opting a joke that Whiskers wasn't in on, and that she'd done this in a desperate attempt to get back into his good graces. It wasn't funny. It wasn't a sick burn. Was it even creepy? I'd say it was a failed attempt at being creepy. Yeah, actual poop would be creepy.
George Gay says, listen, sweetheart, I'm all for a good prank, especially when someone did you dirty, but he hasn't really done anything evil. Val, did you put fake poop by the Flake's front door when he went radio silent? OP says, no, I just whined to my journal and talked smack about him to all of you guys. George Gay, there you go. Romance is rife with rebuffing, honey. So you talk shit to your friends or you dear diary your butt hurt like Purple Pixie does, but you don't make fake poop. Just ditch the loser and find somebody better. Jiggle those Jupiters in some new guy's face. It's fair advice. Alternatively, go to therapy and work through your issues. But, you know, somebody new, I guess that'll fix it for a while. Oh dear, OP says, I was sitting there with the unwanted knowledge of Whiskers' plot to do something that Mary was sure to perceive as evil, but he had concocted this plot in retaliation to her corny Duke display. They were both being unfathomably immature, but I still tried to do a tiny bit of damage control. OP, what if the corny fudge made him mad enough to do something heinous, Mary? Not possible! It showed him that I cared! George and I exchanged vexed looks, and Lucy, who had been listening in quiet dismay, quipped, forget flowers and greeting cards. Want to show someone you care? Make corny turd fudge. Yeah, that'll win his heart. George and I both laughed, but Mary seemed bewildered. I do care, she whined. Sometimes you need a grand gesture. Yeah, I don't think that's what they was talking about when they said that, though. George Gay, caca of the corn. Ain't no grand gesture, mama. Dollars to donuts. You freaked out that bearded skyscraper. Mary waved a dismissive hand. Just send him a titty pic. All will be forgiven. Yeah, some guys are that simple, I guess. Why couldn't it be plural? A pic of my titties. Oh, because you can't fit them both in frames? That's a strange problem to have. At this point, OP left the corny conversation and crossed the dressing room to continue telling Darcy the story of Tia G's epic Mo smackdown after she caught him hitting on Georgina. Darcy whispering, what the hell were all you guys just talking about? Why is plus-size Barbie putting poop on that weird bearded dude's doorstep? OP, well, she put fake poo on his doorstep. He thought it was real, though. She's got some obsession problems, Darcy. Sounds like she's got a lot more problems than just obsession. But speaking of obsessive weirdos, tell me more about the mowdown. OP. So, his pervy ass totally busted, right? Tia G took her earrings off and made him stand up, and I swear he was pissing in his pants at that point. Then she read him the riot act and fucking backhanded him when he started talking about all the things he wanted to teach her daughter. Yes, that is a very deep cringe moment. Is the reason we don't see him in the story because he's dead? He pissed off the wrong parent? Darcy, ew, gross, but I'm so happy he got backhanded. You have no idea. Hey, boy George, we need to give your aunt a freaking medal. George Gay, right? She's coming to the show tonight, so you can all thank her. Darcy, for real? We need to do some kind of tribute to her in the show. I'm gonna ask Mad Mox if we could throw something together. High kick in her honor at the end of the show? OP, I'm in. For anyone unfamiliar with dance terminology, imagine the Rockettes. That's a high kick routine. And for anyone who might be worried that we were gonna hurt Mo's widow feelings by celebrating the fact that he got his ass kicked by a granny, well, fear not. Mo had been banned from the Imp ever since that incident, and they always had a theater volunteer, usually one of the improv students, on Mo Patrol during every show. Yeah, you gotta go creep somewhere else now, Mo. Rest in piss. I'm glad we all finally came to our senses regarding this. But there was another creep in the audience that night. A creep from my past, and from George's, and from Tink's. Remember Tink? He was a rather shy younger member of the burlesque troupe and a flawless dancer. I met him when he was playing Mr. Mistopheles in Cats, and I suggested that he give burlesque a whirl when he said he wanted to explore the wonderful, terrifying, wide-open world of adulthood. Madame Moxie fell in love with him instantly, and he never failed to steal the show. Hell yeah, he's in like Flynn! Unfortunately, becoming a part-time burlesque performer wasn't the only daring new thing that he had done over the summer. He also gave Boom Boom a whirl. I'm pretty sure that's an intimidating first time, even if you are a gay fellow. Was he pitching or you know what? Never mind. I had an inkling that Tink was a virgin when rehearsals began. He was most certainly not a virgin by the time the show closed. And this loss of innocence was thanks to the same rude, crude dude who had made George Gay my Eskimo brother, the most notorious pansexual playboy in the Wellsprings theater community, and sex pest extraordinaire, Royal Schlumberger, better known as Scumbanger, also known to the cast of Cats as Rum Tum Tugger. The typecasting, yeah, it was pretty strong in that show. So y'all just got taken for a ride, like, yeah, he's disgusting, but I did him. Yeah, me too, and I think he's disgusting as well.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
Weird? Maybe it started out as a romantical thing, I have no idea. George and I had both been able to shake off that cheap intimacy and return to our lives without sustaining any emotional scars, and I had insisted on safety so there were no physical scars. Was he like burning it with a lit cigarette or something? I'm much nicer, more understanding. All I do is make you keep your mouth open so I ash the blunt in it. Even so, OP did get checked and got the all clear, but Scumbanger was undoubtedly responsible for the unshakable threes-up rumor, which was a truly perplexing flex. Running around bragging that you had a threes with Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser does not make you sound cool. Not even among theater nerds. But I do suppose it makes you sound like a giga degenerate, so indeed, Scumbanger bragged on. Yeah, weird flex, but okay, I guess it takes different strokes to move the world, you know? What some people find ultra awesome is the thing that will make me never talk to you again. And yeah, the rumor really was never going away, so George and I just lived with it. Have I admitted what really happened? It's not great. We were all smoking the devil's lettuce and drinking cheap champagne, but I'm absolutely not using intoxication as an excuse for this bad decision. I knew exactly what was happening and just didn't really give a flip. Scumbanger had been openly lecherous with both of us and had smarmily proposed a threes-up. We declined, mostly because it felt, sort of like family matters. But ultimately, George did do it with him, and so did I, thinking perhaps I could prove to myself that I was capable with enjoying adult fun with someone besides Dennis. And it happened at the same cast party, and on the same night, but just not at the same time. Okay, but probably some fluids were exchanged. I don't think it counts, necessarily, but maybe it is rooted in fact. Get it? Rooted? We were aware of the other's short-lived affair, and neither of us cared. And just to be crystal clear, I'm fully aware that this was sleazy behavior. Hell, I recognized it as a mistake almost immediately after it happened. Fortunately for me, I at least had the awareness to see that for what it was. Yeah, I'm not even gonna clutch my pearls over it, honestly. Bunch of theater nerds rubbing their genitals together. It happens in every social circle, just maybe happens a lot more often in this one. Kind of like band kids. Band kids are always doing some weird shit to each other.
Oh, and this one time, at band camp, I stuck a flute in my...
Anyway, Tink, on the other hand, was brand new to this type of sleaze, and he mistook his own hookup with Scumbanger for genuine romance. When Scumbanger went around carelessly boasting about deflowering the magical Mr. Mistopheles, yeah, it stung. Tink was incredibly distraught over the flippant way that Scumbanger spoke of their dalliance, and Scumbanger had neither the courtesy nor the empathy to acknowledge that the encounter hadn't been casual for Tink. Yeah, welcome to the adult world. It sucks. Get used to it. I suppose I could have done the readers the courtesy of glossing over the fact that these scandals happened during a community theater production of the most reviled musical known to man, but Cats was a hell of a lot of fun to be in. Hate on it if you must, but I wish more people would respect the fact that the play requires some serious dancing and singing chops. The movie... well, sucked an entire bag of schlong, and it slaughtered our song, and it left out the epic tandem cartwheels. Whoa, tandem cartwheels! George and I, two little community theater nerds, busted our asses to learn that move. And they couldn't put it in that big-budget CGI dumpster fire? Yeah, well, we're unionized, so actually you'd have to hire stunt people and blah, blah, blah. I expect nothing good out of Hollywood. Are we supposed to expect something different? I have expected something different for at least 20 years. Where was I before I snatched the opportunity to bash that movie? Oh, yes. So Scumbanger showed up at the Imp that night, and poor Tink had spotted the douche canoe entering the theater. Scumbanger was, as much as I hate to admit it, hot. And he had talent and charisma for days. Needless to say, he was extremely crushable, surprisingly bland in bed, however. He exuded very little passion and completely dodged my attempts to temporarily form a human connection, which was surprising from a guy who could connect with an audience so effortlessly. Okay, but you see, these are two separate skills. I sort of identify with what you're talking about. When he finally locked eyes with me, I quickly realized that he was staring at his own reflection in my peepers, and then he popped. Okay, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. At least it was mercifully short, eh? So the sweet, formerly innocent Tink burst into the dressing room on the verge of tears and cried, "Scumbanger's here!" George, Gay, and I both rushed to our heartbroken young friend. Yes, one could perceive this as a histrionic overreaction to a disappointing love affair, but come on, Tink was young and very new to this type of drama. Therefore, he gets a pass as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, you're still hurt by the dude that took your V-card and didn't treasure it, just threw it directly in the trash? Histrionic, yes. Overreaction? Perhaps not. George Gay says, "It's gonna be fine, Tinkerbell. You don't have to talk to him. Just get up on the stage and blow everyone away with your ballet and then dip as soon as you're done. He's not with your tears, honey." Tink, "I don't think I can dance knowing that he's in the audience." OP, "Sure you can. Just be your fabulous, graceful self and he'll be kicking himself for letting you go." Mary rudely interrupted.
Are you guys talking about Tugger? The meaty meat in the Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser sandwich?
Oh, fuck off, Mary. Shouldn't you be eating an 8-pack of hot dogs? Get out of here!
Get the hell out of here and stay out, you pervert!
George and I both shot eye daggers at her, knowing that her repetition of this widely believed rumor was sure to further distress Tink, and Tink sniffled. He swore to me that didn't really happen. George and I replied in tandem, It didn't. Tink, I thought I'd be over him by now. It's not that I even have feelings for him anymore. I just feel so cheap. Yeah, it's probably something that you should have preserved. But you wanted to make your big boy choices like a lot of us do. And indeed, now you deal with the big boy consequences. Hopefully like a big boy. I don't want you to cry anymore, is what I'm saying. Bottle all those feelings up and stuff them deep down in there like a man. OP hugs Tink and asks, he was here first, wasn't he? And Tink nodded. George says, girl, the first is the worst. Let's go to La Cage after the show and you can meet some new guys. Does that sound like a plan? That's right, you go down there and knock out 20, 50 of these hood rats, you ain't gonna feel nothing no more. Perhaps quite literally. Tink nodded again, finally starting to smile a bit, and Mary says,
By Georgie, what do you tell Tinky about Tuggy's loose caboose?
George pivoted and clamped a hand over her mouth. Mary, stop! You're not helping. And so, just as Tink was starting to calm down, Mary burst into tears and bolted from the dressing room, completely butthurt that her insensitive yammering had been shushed. Needs to happen a lot more often, in my opinion. Tink, what was she talking about? George, who the hell knows? That girl's like totally cray. OP, certifiable. Trust me, I'm a therapist. Well, in training. George, Val, can you go therapize Mary? I'll stay here and smack talk Scumbanger with Tink. OP, she's way above my pay grade, but I'll go keep an eye on her. As I was heading out to Mary sit, she came scrambling back toward the dressing room, even more frenetic than she had been when she bolted. Oh, she saw Whiskers. Mary,
Valley! He's cheating on me!
Her whine game was so strong, it almost made my ears bleed. I peered over her shoulder and spied Whiskers, gratuitously making out with a girl who looked like an extra from New Wave Hookers. Yeah, New Wave Hookers 4 has Chasey Lane in it. Bet you didn't know that. I only know it because of a Bloodhound Gang song. OP just says, wow, what a jerk. You could do better, Mary. Mary wailed, and I saw Whiskers come up for air. I couldn't be sure, but I think there was a devilish grin beneath that behemoth of a beard when he noticed Mary's hysterics, and then his date dove back into the unkempt nest of hair on his face. Rife with intrigue, many disgusting people doing disgusting things. You'll love it. And on some level I do. On another level I find it deeply sad that these humans are so lost. But oh well, can't fix them all. Can't even fix myself, really. Anyway, Mary quite literally dragged me down into her heap of misery. I was sitting on the ground in my exotic elf costume, with Mary's arms wrapped around my waist as she writhed in the poignant pain of a woman alone and palely loitering. Madam Moxie and Darcy passed by on their way back to the dressing room, and Moxie said, "What's with Barbie?" OP, boy drama. I'm just trying to be supportive. Darcy, impervious to Mary's meltdown, says, OP, she said we could do the high kick for George's aunt before the finale, so we just need to run through it a few times. Moxie, and I'm going to send her flowers. That crusty old fart made every last one of you girls uncomfortable. I should have backhanded him myself 10 times over. Yeah, but talk is cheap, isn't it? Too little, too late, though I appreciate the acknowledgement, I suppose. Mary looked up from her heap of misery and moaned, He hit on me, too! Madam Moxie, Of course he did, Barbie. OP, Hey, Mary, I need to go run through the Modown High Kick tribute to Tia G, so you gonna be okay? Mary, squeezing me more tightly, No!
I can't be alone right now.
Well, that's just something you need to practice with. Get really comfortable being alone, because I think you're going to be alone for a long time after you chase all these people away. OP says, Darcy, could you ask Lucy to come take over for me so I could practice with you guys? Darcy gave me an affirmative thumbs up, and Mary continued to sob uncontrollably until George Gay emerged from the dressing room. George, Lucy's sitting with Twink now, and she's making him laugh, so I think he's good to dance. I'll take Mary while you guys practice. Tia G's gonna love it. The Mary Meltdown handoff was like passing a fussy, massively oversized toddler from one babysitter to another. George had to get down on the floor and pry her arms off of me. Come on, Mare. Valley has to go practice. I'm your binky now, okay? And just as we were getting Mary's arms wrapped around his waist instead of mine, fucking Scumbanger douched his way over to the spectacle and cheekily remarked to Mary, Hey, Blondie, a bit of that same position. Let's close. More claws. And he licked his teeth. Mary looked up, and when she saw the handsome, libidinous Lothario standing over us, her whimpering came to a screeching halt. OP, hey, Royal, long time no see. Have you met Mary? George, Mary, this is our friend Royal. Why don't you two grab a drink before the show starts? Scumbanger.
Enchanted to meet you, Miss Mary. And very enchanted to see my two favorite knockabout clowns again.
He then adjusted himself. George and I ignored the lechery. Yeah, which is probably what you should have fucking done the first time, but hindsight's 20/20 in that. Mary says,
Royal, are you my Prince Charming?
Scumbanger charmingly.
If you want me to be.
It's so cheesy. Because it's a bunch of theater kids. So of course it's going to be over-dramatized and everything. Scumbanger helped her to her feet and allowed her to take his arm as he strolled to the bar. This was an unequivocally terrible idea in the long term, but in the short term, well, it got Scumbanger far away enough from Tink, and it got Mary to stop all the sobbing, and it appeared that Whiskers would no longer need to pay an escort to accompany him to the Imp. Yeah, everybody's winning. The show went swimmingly that night, too. See, even the patrons are winning, thank God. All this backstage drama isn't affecting things too much. Lucy had managed to effectively console Tink, and his ballet was as gorgeous as ever. The improv bits were quite funny, and the scenes ran smoothly, since Mary was in an uncharacteristically fantastic mood, thanks to Scumbanger. And Tia G absolutely loved our little Rockette-style tribute to her epic defeat of the Imp's resident creep. We all took our bows and climbed down from the stage to mingle with the audience. Mary made a beeline for Scumbanger and simultaneously stuck her tongue down his throat and her hand down his pants. Gross. Gotta her pacifilates. I had to protect Tink from this display. Apparently George Gay had the same thought because we both got to Tink at the same time and steered him toward Tia G, who effectively distracted him by gushing about how much she loved his dancing. I turned around to find myself face to chest with Whiskers, whose dazzling date was still dangling on his arm. OP, well, I'd say mission accomplished. Whiskers, I have a certain sadness to tell you the truth. Oh, hey, this is Sugar Pop. She sells party favors, if you're into that kind of thing. Actually, I was, at least on occasion. OP says, what kind of party favors? Sugar Pop?
I got crystal, baby. Or if you like a quick party, I got some crack.
Oh, hell no. These types of party favors were way outside of my comfort zone. Good choice, OP. Same. OP to Sugar Pop. I'm good. Thank you, though. Whiskers pulled me aside to whisper something. As his beard got close to my face,
I suddenly felt like I was approaching the bog of eternal stench. But swirled within the stench, I could smell a heavy dousing of woman's perfume. Posh woman's perfume. If it was Sugar Pop's perfume, her drug dealing must have been astoundingly lucrative. I mean, crystal moves, I'll say that much. OP, back it up, Whiskers. What the hell's that smell? Whiskers, flower Bob? It's my secret weapon. OP, yeah, I thought I smelled perfume, but something else. Smells like a turtle tank. You ever smelled a turtle tank? If you haven't, it might not be as evocative, but if you have, yeah, you never forget. Whiskers says, I don't know what you're talking about. OP, your beard, it's minging. Can we just talk later? Whiskers, I was gonna say, George Gay gracefully interrupted. Hey girl, are you coming to the cage? We need to get Tink out of here before Scumbanger. And then George's nostrils flared and he gagged a bit. Jesus Christ, Whiskers. You smell like 50 Shades of Stank. Whiskers. You guys are so prissy. You've just gone nose blind to it because you're walking around with that shit right on your face. Has nobody else giving you this negative reaction? Well, not Sugar Pop, I guess, but she's nose blind to it too. It's her stink. Blech. OP says, yeah, prissy. I suppose we were. I waved to Whiskers and Sugar Pop, fled to the dressing room, changed out of my costume as quickly as I could, and then danced the rest of the night away with my 2 Eskimo brothers. So the following night, Whiskers, or I guess now Funky, strode into the Shadowrun house, still somewhat ripe from his myriad sloppy encounters with Sugar Pop. Funky was relatively chill, as Sugar Pop had given a stellar performance and made him feel like a man. It's probably actually the crystal doing a lot of work there. But his uncharacteristically clear head immediately clouded when his eyes were assaulted by the sight of his bête noire, a pretty boy. There was Axton, sitting on the fireplace and looking effortlessly handsome as he traded jokes with Snorlax. Funky, who the fuck is this douche? Axton was taken aback by Funky's venomous greeting. He stood and extended his hand. Axton, I generally try to avoid being a douche, but I apologize if I gave off a bad vibe. Funky crossed his arms and huffed, refusing the friendly handshake. Axton, okay then. And you are? Funky maintained his seething, silent sanctimony. Maury, we call him Funky. Axton, Funky like Funky Cold Medina? Or funky like don't breathe through your nose when he's around? Maury, both would make sense, but we call him Funky because his beard stinks. Funky to Maury, how dare you speak to me like that, pretty boy? Are you seriously letting him join the team? Maury, back porch. We need to have a private conference. Yeah, a little meeting that consists of don't get too big for your fucking britches. I make the rules around here, I call the shots, okay? Funky says, no, call me your scrote. I'll be nice, I guess. Funky reached down the back of his pants, rummaged around, and extended his butt-cracky hand to Axton. Axton backed away. I'm good, dude. Maury grabbed Funky by the belt and steered the beard to the back porch, slamming the door behind them. Axton, seriously, what's that guy's deal? Sage shrugged. Alcoholism and unchecked anger? Quite accurate. Axton, why do you guys tolerate him? He makes my skin crawl. Snorlax, he's like related to Maury, isn't he? Athena, no, they've known each other forever, but he's not a relative. I think he's more like a ward, or he might be Maury's pet project. Snorlax, right, 'cause he's tarded. Sage, what? No, he's not. Axton, dude, you can't say the R word. Snorlax, I wasn't trying to be rude, I swear. First time I met him, he told me that his brain was exceptionally unique, and I thought that was just the latest euphemism for, like, I rode the short bus. Snorlax based and unaffected by judgment as always. He said the thing was too accurate for you? Well, I'm not sorry. Sage and Axton both half-heartedly admonish Snorlax for using insensitive terminology, and Snorlax sincerely promised to use more politically correct language in the future. But mostly, Sage and Axton were wildly amused by the fact that Snorlax had legitimately thought Funky was challenged for all of those years. And nothing about Funky's behavior challenged Snorlax's perceptions that Funky was challenged. I mean, yeah, because in a lot of ways he legitimately is. So later that night, Funky managed to wipe his butt-cracky hand on Axton's face, and that was when Axton kicked the living shit out of that neckbeard. Funky crumpled to the floor and wept pitifully, insisting that he'd been trying to use Maury's brand of frat guy humor to bond with the newbie. Nobody believed him, but Maury still refused to give the beard the boot. Maybe he's just hoping Axton will throw up. Axton decided to come back the next weekend, despite Maury's weird rules and Funky's rude and immature behavior, because he was using tabletop as a replacement for a gambling addiction. Interesting choice, but alright. The slight sense of danger that was ever present in the Shadowrun house made this otherwise odd situation a splendid substitute for basement poker games and brutish bookies. I'm not drawing the same lines, but if you like it, you like it. Roll them dice, son. Little did I know that the Shadowrun lineup I'd meet the following year had just crystallized while I was covered in glitter and dancing in a giant cage with George and Tink. Thankfully, neither Whiskers nor Scumbanger crashed that party. Tink went home with a virtual pocket full of phone numbers. George showed him how to use Grindr, and I ignored a booty call from Dennis. Running into Scumbanger and seeing that he'd made Tink feel the same way that Dennis made me feel had hit the dopaminergic pathways of my brain like a lightning bolt, effectively rewiring them for that moment. But what seemed like an instance of emotional maturation would soon lead in a roundabout way to a mistake far worse than the mistake of pawning Mary off on Scumbanger. We'll get one more instance of extreme Mary mania before this story begins to gradually morph into that neckbeard saga that we know so well. Next time, we'll have the pleasure of meeting Chuck the Milksop. I think Milksop's the acceptable way to say that on YouTube. C-U-C-K. Well, it seems like everything's, coming up roses, at least for the moment. Everybody's getting the thing that they want, or the thing that they think they want in the moment. And then you look back 20 years later down the road and you're like, damn, we should have made different decisions. But you can't, so the ones that you made are probably just fine. It's going to turn out great, don't worry! I'm looking forward to the next part. Welcome OP back into the fold. I also got to get Bear Beard rolling again. But after the last part where they're like, oh, we're moving and we're taking the beards with us, I'm like, Jesus, this is a hopeless situation. Anyway, now I'm just talking out the side of my neck again. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, sub. If you did, join up on the Patreon in case something terrible happens to the YouTube, although YouTube memberships are pretty cool as well. I got an Amazon affiliate link, Teespring, all sorts of stuff. Social medias, whatever you want. But what I want, most importantly, is for you to remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.